Today I am Saki. Today I will tell you about the power of art in promoting sustainable research. So first, a slide about me so that you know who I am. That's a picture of me wearing a dress made out of nitrile gloves. I think this is probably the most famous picture of me on the internet right now. So if you've seen me already, it's probably this one. So I am an independent artivist, which is an artist slash activist. I use my art to promote sustainable research, and I specialize in wearable art, and I have a little bit of a costuming background. Before I got into that, I studied molecular biology at UCSD, and then after that, I was in the biotech industry. I was a genomicist for 7 years. And then in 2020, I became a full-time artist, and I'm currently collaborating with Green Labs Austria since 2023. And we're working together to use art to promote more sustainable research. And this QR code here is my website. So in case you want to find out more about my art and my non-science related art, etc., you can go ahead and scan that. So more on the dress later, though. Okay, so what I make, a lot of what I make, most of what I make recently is upcycled art made from single-use single-use lab plastics. So things like petri dishes, microfuge tubes, serological pipettes, pipette tips, not shown here. The pictures here on this slide are chandeliers made out of polystyrene. So on the left, we have a chandelier made of serological pipettes, and on the right, there's a chandelier made of petri dishes. So the idea behind this project was to take trash and then turn it into something that's beautiful and make people look at it in a different way so that they can view plastics as a precious resource instead of just something that is destined to be trash and incinerated. And I specifically chose polystyrene for these projects because currently in Austria, we don't have a recycling program. There are no facilities that take polystyrene. So these are the ones that I really wanted to draw people's attention to. I also make wearable art. Wow, that video just disappeared. Okay, it's okay. I'll play the video in a sec, and then the picture will come back. So I have made a couple of dresses now out of again single-use plastic items that are non-recyclable in Austria. The picture in the middle, this one is a pipette dress. So those little transfer pipettes, they're like eyedroppers. And you know what? I'm just going to play the video on the right, and this is going to say a lot more than I can because I talk slowly and the video has captions. So I'm going to play it. All right. So that is stuff I do. So if you want to see more of these videos and stuff like that, you can scan one of the QR codes that's on the left side. One goes to my Instagram, one's for my YouTube channel. There's also art tutorials on the YouTube channel. So if you're also into like DIY crafts, yeah, check it out. Okay. So, oh wait, how do I go to the next slide? There we go. So why I chose art? Why did I quit my wonderful career as a scientist and decide to be a full-time artist? So I have a short little story to tell you all. So I used to work in a biotech company, and I had this coworker who refused to recycle. He had these reagent bottles. They're the Nalgene plastic bottles, and he would just throw them into the trash. And I was like, "What are you doing? The recycling bin is like right next to the trash can." And he said, "You know what, Saki? I have a choice. I can choose to recycle or I could choose to throw it in the trash, and I just want to throw it away in the trash." And I was like, "Well, that's really messed up. That's not good." And he just like was not going to change his mind. And I think he got a little bit offended because I was like a sort of new employee and he was a senior scientist, a senior scientist. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is not the way to convince people to do the more responsible, sustainable choice. So I changed my strategy and I stopped telling people what they should do, and instead I just did it on my own, and I tried to set an example. And when this kind of failed to get people's attention, I started doing some wacky stuff like making art out of the plastic waste from our lab. And in this picture, this is the ugly sweater contest of 2012 that I wore to the Christmas party. And you can see that there's some pipette tip racks on the bottom. The little Christmas trees are made of Nalgene bottle caps. There's some Mylar bags, and all of this snow is styrofoam box pieces. And these little mints are petri dishes that I painted. The candy canes are actual candy canes. We had nothing in the lab that looks like candy canes. But anyway, I wore this to the Christmas party and so many people wanted to know about it. It was a big talking piece. And I was like, wow, okay, that really works. This gets people talking, it gets people interested. And I think it just works a whole lot better to do something that's fun and like cute and colorful, and this will get people's attention a lot more effectively than, telling them like, yeah, you should recycle. So a little bit of a summary of what I just said, why I chose art. So art is a fun way to engage with people in general, not just scientists. Art gets shared, so a bunch of people wanted to take photos of this, post this to social media, and this reaches a way wider audience. And also, art can touch people in a way that words or facts and data cannot. So, and actually, I'm just gonna go right to the next slide because that's what the next slide says. Okay, so art is a powerful tool for communication, and I'm just going to show you some data versus art. Excuse me. So a lot of times we talk about, so our lab uses so many numbers of so many metric tons of carbon dioxide every year, or the sea level is rising by so many centimeters, or the world temperature is rising by so many degrees, and those can be really hard for people to wrap their head around. They might look at these graphs and charts and numbers and go like, wow, that seems like a really big number, but I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, even scientists who are dealing with these numbers, we know what these numbers mean, but what do they mean to us like in a personal way? So they're kind of abstract versus when people see art and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, uh, it can immediately make a mental connection with them. It can make something matter to them. So for example, when I showed the video, I think a common reaction was like, oh, wow. Like, I thought that one dress had a lot of gloves, but now that I'm seeing that every day, our institute is using 4 times that amount, like, people are just like, wow, mind explosion. So I think that art has the power to really make an impact. Like you can show people all the numbers and still it won't get through to them. So, and the going to the second bullet point, art gets a lot of attention. So, the 2 dresses that I made are currently on a little bit of a European tour. They're getting shipped around and exhibited at various and conferences and also just universities, research centers. And people are really drawn to the dresses and they're like, ooh, what is that? That's weird and interesting. I want to look at it. And then that that gets their attention so that they actually now want to read the text and see the facts and the data and the numbers. So this is a great way to get people interested in an otherwise maybe bland topic. I also exhibited the dresses at the Vienna Ball of Sciences this January, and people were just taking photos nonstop throughout the night, sharing them on Instagram. And we also managed to get the attention of some local politicians. On the photo on the right, there's the mayor of Vienna and a couple of city council members. And these are the people who are going to be deciding, does Vienna get funding for another recycling facility? Or are we going to make some new policy changes that, I don't know, require people to have some kind of meet some standard for sustainable research? So these are all really important people to reach. And I feel like the art is a real shortcut way to just immediately get their attention. So yeah. Um, and art changes hearts. This is probably like the most important to me as an artist part of the art is that art is the secret ingredient that can reach people emotionally when all other methods fail. So this next slide, I'm just going to show you, is these are testimonials from scientists who participated in the plastic collection for the chandeliers and for the dresses. So what I did was I emailed them afterwards for like a little bit of a follow-up survey and like said, hey, how did you feel about that project? Was there anything significant that you want to share? And here are some of the things that people have said. So it was a lot more fun to collect the plastics knowing that they were going to be used for an art project rather than simply throwing them into the correct bin. Some people realized how much plastic they were using, so many scientists were just kind of throwing away their single-use plastics into this big collection container, the generic trash can, and at the end of the day, the cleaning crew comes and takes it and it just disappears and they don't worry about it. But when they had this little box on their bench where they had to collect all of the petri dishes that they were using in one day, then they would go, oh my God, I just used 10 petri dishes today. Didn't even think about it. So this was really eye-opening for some scientists. Scientists were checking Instagram and saying like, oh yeah, I was so excited to see the progress. And so you could see that there was personal, they were personally vested in the project. It wasn't just like something that, you know, oh, that's cool, I saw it on the internet. But they were like, I'm co-creating this art piece and they want to know the progress. And people were generally glad that the plastics were getting recycled, upcycled, so instead of incinerated. And then this one I think is really important. People said they were sad when the collection period ended because first I gave them hope by, you know, turning these non-recyclable plastics into something beautiful. And then I took the hope away when I was just like, yeah, I'm actually done. I don't need any more pipettes. Sorry, I can't take them. And they were like, no, but now I have to throw them in the trash again. But I don't want to do that. And so you can see that this actually made it matter to them. And so actually it was the people who left me this feedback, they actually switched over to glass petri dishes after the chandelier project. And so this is really surprising because these are the people who participated in the plastic collection for the project. They actually already care about sustainability. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed up to volunteer to collect the plastics. So they care about sustainable research, but it wasn't until they participated in this project and got inspired by the art that they actually made the final little jump to convert to glassware. So that's just proof that there's some sort of special magic that art has, and it reaches them in an emotional way that all other ways have failed to do before. So, yep, I have like a minute left in my time slot, so I will just kind of breeze through this slide, what I'm doing now. So I'm just continuing to do what I'm already doing. And I'm also running some workshops. I'm showing people how to upcycle their own plastics. You know, I'm like at home, bring your gloves home, use them to clean your toilet when they're not sterile for science anymore, you know, stuff like this. And then I'm running a couple of jewelry making workshops, turn your old pipettes into earrings and such. And then let's see, I'm exhibiting all of the work that I've already created, the chandeliers and the dress. They are, like I said, they're touring Europe. And very importantly, I'm trying to create a network of artists and scientists because I love what I'm doing and I feel like I have made a little bit of an impact, but there could be like a way bigger impact if more artists were involved, if more scientists were involved, and then I wouldn't have to create this big carbon footprint to go to other universities and institutes to do what I'm doing. We could just have local artists do it there. So yeah, that would be ideal. So if you know some artists who want to join the cause, connect them with me. And if your science institute or university wants some artists or whatnot, yeah, connect us. Anyway, you have my QR code. And I guess, well, here's the acknowledgement slide, but I'm just going to kind of skip it because I'm out of time. But these are all the people who've hosted me and helped me get to where I am. So thanks, y'all. And I will now introduce the next speaker, which I don't have a slide for, unfortunately, but it's going to be Gil Costa, who's a really cool person. He has a PhD in neuroscience and is now a digital illustrator. And I'm sorry, I don't remember all the other cool things, but I'll just pass it off to you.